2 weeks after the NFL Draft showcased Cleveland's North Coast to the world, the owners of the Browns have their own vision of how the land could one day be developed. The team released their idea of how a land bridge could be the key to extending downtown all the way to the lake. And tonight, News 5's John Kosick shows us how the concept could be transformative.
Yeah, for more than a century now, the overlook here on Mall C has been the essential end of downtown, cut off from the lake by the Shoreway and the railroad bridge. But imagine if it weren't the ending, if it were the beginning of a long winding trail down to the lake. Well, thanks to Browns owners Jimmy and Dee Haslam, you no longer have to imagine, you can see it. Imagine one day if instead of this, Cleveland had something like this, an extension of the green space on the malls above the convention center, over the railroad and Shoreway, down to the North Coast Harbor. The Cleveland Browns releasing the renderings of the work commissioned by owners Jimmy and Dee Haslam, working with teams of architects to come up with a transformative vision for the area, involving a tree-lined land bridge sloping down to the stadium, science center, and lake beyond. On the North Coast Harbor site recently cleared for the NFL Draft, there would be a mix of park space and development, including a feature that would open the stadium to the lake. The city of Cleveland last month applied for a state grant of $6.5 million to get the process started, with the estimated total price tag of $229 million. The area of the bridge is the same space used for a temporary walkway during the 1936 Great Lakes Exposition. In a statement, the Haslams, who have been working closely with the city, recognize this won't happen overnight. There is a long road ahead for a project of this magnitude, they wrote. Still, it must start with a vision, which will be appropriately studied, vetted, and modified based on input from community stakeholders. Those walking Mall C on this day applaud the idea of not having to stop one day at the overlook.
I think it would be great to have a flow down to the lake where people could actually have access to the waterfront in a way that we really haven't.
Lydia is originally from Baltimore, a city turned around in the 70s and 80s on the strength of its waterfront.
My family has mentioned before that down by the North Coast Harbor it does look similar to Baltimore, and I think we do really appreciate the walkability that Baltimore has, so I feel like that would be a nice addition to have here as well.
And the city could hear from the state as early as next month on that initial $6.5 million in state funding to get the process started. In Cleveland, John Kosick, News 5.